But I never wanted to get away from the idea that they're there, first of all, for an education, and I didn't, my practices were shorter than most of the coaches, and many that I know.
Right.
I didn't require them to look at films. I never had many meetings and things of that sort because I thought too much of that took away from their main purpose of being there.
Yes, yes. So you, and when you say your practices were shorter, Coach Wooden, why? You'd think the longer the practice, the better the player would become.
I think just the reverse is true.
Okay, tell me.
As you become tired physically, you also become tired mentally, and that too can make you tired emotionally.
Okay.
And it was my opinion, and I think I learned this through the years, that my players knew, for example, we're going to start on time. There's no question we're starting on time. If you're not dressed and on the floor at the time that I've set for you to be there, you don't get to practice that day unless there's a reason that I could understand.
Okay.
There could be a logical reason.
Of course.
But you have to come to me first.
Right.
And then you must never criticize a teammate. Never criticize a teammate. That's my job. You must never criticize a teammate.
Okay.
I don't want anything done that would cause friction between you. So don't you do it. I mean, not just talking. You can criticize him by a look. So be very careful of that. And of course, I never used one word of profanity, and you were off for the day.
Okay.
And then I try the next day not to say, now don't do that again. I want to take care of it when it happens, just as I would my children at home, and I wouldn't have to say, now don't do that again, don't do that again. Now, if my method of correcting it doesn't work, I've got to try something different.
Sure.
But I've learned that. But I learned that early. In practicing too long, they just didn't respond as well. I learned never to give new things late in the practice period, and I did do that to begin with.
Okay.
I learned that new things must be given after they're loosened up and warmed up early in the practice period, but just explained. And then I think maybe we'll start working on it the next day. Let a little osmosis set in from one day to the next. After I've explained it and showed them, and the next day we'll start working on it.
I see. Yeah.
And so those are things that I think I learned, and I think there's a law of decreasing ability if you go too long. They knew we were going to close on time. They knew we were going to start on time. And in between, we went from drill to drill very quickly. I didn't believe. I'm telling you now what I did in my later years.
I understand.
In my early years, for conditioning, for example, I might make them run steps or run penny cup tests, or make them run up and down stairs, or make them do push-ups. In the end, I never did that at all. I wanted my conditioning to come through the drills we did, and we had the drills, the type of drills that we're using would all be conditioning drill. Every shooting drill was also a conditioning drill, and I learned to do those things, and I think that became more effective, and we got more done.
So, Coach Wooden, for example, a lot of coaches today have their basketball players lifting weights. Would you believe in doing that?
Not to the degree that most of them are doing away. I want my players I want their muscles to be long and supple.
Okay.
We would do more of the stretching type of things rather than lifting weights. I did not want to put on artificial weight. I never wanted bulging muscles. I think it's the players with the bulging muscles that get the Charlie horses, that get the pulled muscles, and the fellows with the stringy, like players you might remember they had. Alcindor, he never had Charlie horse or pulled muscle. Keith Wilkes never had. Now they have the type of the long, supple muscles that they're never hurt.
Right.
And some of the kids that were really looking more physical specimens with the big muscles, they'd have more problems.
Interesting.
And so for that reason, mainly, I stayed away from the weights. But I would do it to some extent. There are certain things that I had them do, not heavy weights or anything, but develop more strength in the wrist and fingers.
Yes.
And certain things that I did in regard to jumping exercises, but I still didn't use weights on that. So overall, I would say I would use them some, but not to any extra degree.